Linux Lite 5.6 claims to be a gateway operating system designed to be Windows users' first stop in the world of Linux. This naturally piqued my curiosity, so let's check it out now. Built on the latest Ubuntu LTS release and the XFCE desktop, Lite's mission is to make Windows users feel at home and more comfortable with using Linux. Let's spin up a virtual machine and see how they accomplish this. So here we have the install ISO booted. We've got the live system option or the direct install, the compatibility mode, or the OEM install for manufacturers. So today, let's do the direct install. Hit enter. So now it's checking the squash file system. No errors found. That's good. All right, let's let it come up. And launch the installer. And here we go. So let's skip reading the release notes and click continue. And our English US keyboard is fine, so we'll click continue again. I'll download updates while installing Linux and install third-party software. Should save us some time, so let's continue. All right, the first option is to erase disk and install Linux. And we've got an option for LVM and encryption and experimental ZFS use, but won't do that today because this ISO has Timeshift. So I'd like to set up manually a new partition table. Click OK here, continue. And what I'd like to do is set up two partitions. First one is the EFI partition, 1 GB, primary, beginning of the space. And the type is EFI system partition. And click OK. And then for the rest of the disk, rest of free space here, I'd like to, this is primary and beginning of space, I'd like to create a btrfs or btrfs file system for root, for the root mount point. Click OK. This will make Timeshift more efficient than ext4. So let's go ahead and apply now. Partition 1 will be ESP, partition 2 will be btrfs. Very simple, two partition setup. Let's click continue. And click install now. Yes, we're in a Los Angeles time zone. Clicking continue. My name is Steven. My computer's name will be Lite1. And I'll give myself the password once and the password twice. Require my password to log in. Yes, continue. And there we go. The installation has begun. This will take quite a while. All right, it's doing its final configurations. And we should be almost done. And the system has been installed. Now it's time to restart. Remove the installation medium and hit enter. This is a virtual machine, so we don't need to do that. All right, the system is coming back up again for our first boot. And there we go. Ubuntu is the default selection, so let's hit enter. Error, sparse file not allowed. Press any key to continue. This means that Grub2 can't talk to the btrfs root partition, and so we'll need to fix that right away. This is a common problem. No worries. Let's log into LiteDM. And first things first, let's go ahead and open up a Linux Lite terminal, which is the XFCE terminal. Sudo nano /etc/default/grub. Enter my password here. What I want to do, because we can't save the default to btrfs via grub, we'll set that to false. So grub underscore save default equals false. So we've updated the configuration. So we do a sudo update -grub. And once that's done, we can reboot the system. Let's see if that fixed it. All right. Let's boot it up. And we're back to LiteDM without the error message. Perfect. Let's log in. So here we have Lite welcome. Welcome to Linux Lite. And it says to start here. Let's do that. So first step is to install the updates. Good idea. So I'm going to enter my password here. And looks like we already have updates available for our system. It's been a few days since Lite 5.6 has been released. So yeah, 14 updated packages. So let's update now. So TFS3G, some Python stuff, some libraries. Yeah, there's a nice little applet on the bottom right for future updates and update notices. Okay. So it's rounding up by processing the init RAM FS tools triggers. And we should almost be done. Okay. Completed successfully. Now we don't need to view the updates log today. Let's keep this video as short as possible. Next, step 2 is install the drivers. This is a QEMU KVM virtual machine, so yeah, as expected, no additional drivers are available. We've got all the drivers we need built in. Setting a restore point. So this should launch Time Machine. Let me enter my password. Ah, yes, it does. Let's move this window up a little bit. So we've got a btrfs root file system. So we click Next. Snapshot location will be in the root partition, which is btrfs. Snapshots are saved to /timeshift-btrfs on selected partition. Other locations are not supported. Great. Select snapshot levels. These defaults look great to me, so I'll click Next. I won't include the at-home subvolume, but I'll enable the btrfs queue groups as recommended, so I'll click Next. And the setup is complete, so I'll click Finish. And there we go. Let's create our first snapshot so we can roll back if something goes wrong in the future. So there it is, our first snapshot. Very nice. Okay, so restore point set. And here we have the option of installing language support if we need it. We don't, so I'll move on. Here it discusses secure boot and UEFI. And we also get to select a light or dark theme. I'll select dark theme, thank you. Next, they discuss keyboard and numlock configurations for various manufacturers and setups. Very nice. Also upgrading. Let's click this and see if that works. Yeah, we're already running the latest release. Good. No surprise there. And here they offer a bunch of software that they'd like you to take a look at. We'll do that in a bit. And next they list the hardware recommendations. Both minimum and preferred computer requirements are rather light, since this is an XFCE distribution. Okay, let's go to settings and display and do something about that resolution so it's not so blurry. Let's make it 1920 by 1080 and click apply. That looks good. All right, let's close. And since we just updated and did a snapshot, let's restart. Okay. Let's boot Ubuntu, or Linux Lite 5.6 in this case, and get back into Lite DM. There it is. Let's enter the password. And we've got our desktop XFCE. Let's close that for now. Let's take a look at how our system is configured. Let's make this terminal a bit bigger, and let's check the file system table here. So we've got two btrfs subvolumes, the root subvolume and the home subvolume. And we have no swap configured. I don't think there's a swap file here. Let's check that with a swap on -s. And yes, we have no swap configured, as we expected, because we're going to configure zRAM. So, in order to do that, Lite 5.6 has this nifty Lite tweaks tool here, and they got a bunch of things here I could spend all day talking about. zRAM is at the very end. Let's launch zRAM tool. Let's enter our password for sudo. zRAM is currently not enabled. Yeah, so we'd like to enable. So we click yes. And there it is. It's configured to start at boot up, and it's currently running. So I'm going to click quit. I'll quit the tweaks tool here, and let's do swap on again. And you can see it's set up 4 zRAM partitions, 500 megabytes each, 1 partition per CPU core. We've got 4 cores configured here for this virtual machine. So that's a total of close to 2 gigabytes. Let's do a free-h. And there we go. We have swap configured, 1.9 gigabytes. Use 575 megabytes, which is fairly light to medium usage, pretty good. We're running kernel 5.4-81 generic, straight from Ubuntu, from July 15th. Okay, and one of the older LTS kernels. So next, let's go to settings and launch the tweaks again, because I'd like to show you how to install the latest kernel. So we click kernel installer and click begin. And enter our password. And let's continue. Let's fetch the updates. All right, we've got a whole bunch of kernels to choose from. Very nice. Let's choose 5.14, which is, as of this published date, the latest kernel available. So let it update its repositories. So linuxliteos.com has its own repo where they make these kernel images available to users. So it's installing both the kernel image and the headers. Very convenient. So let it unpack. Okay, now it's updating the init RAM file system. Creating the new boot image for kernel 5.14. And it's done. So, successfully installed. Please reboot your system for the changes to take effect. So we'll do that. Click OK. Let's quit the tweaks tool. Let's go to the menu here, log out, and choose the restart option. There it is. Let's boot the new kernel, hopefully. And there's our Lite DM login manager, display manager rather. Let's take a look here. Let's launch the terminal, XFCE terminal again. Make it a bit bigger here. And let's do a uname-a. Yes, we're running 5.14 from Linux Lite this time, not Ubuntu. So that's good. All right. So let's next do a sudo apt update. Make sure we're all synced. And then let's install NeoFetch with sudo apt install NeoFetch. All right. So that's installed. So let's clear this terminal and let's make this a little bit bigger here. And let's run a NeoFetch. All right. So the OS is Linux Lite 5.6. The host is a KVM QEMU, which I highly recommend, by the way, using. Kernel is 5.14 as requested. We've got 1,936 packages. The shell is bash 5. The screen resolution is correct. The desktop environment is XFCE, I believe 4.14. A little bit older, but it checks out. We've got the Adapta window manager theme, Adapta Nocto. Icons is Papyrus Adapta Nocto. The memory used is 636 megabytes, reported by NeoFetch. Yeah, still very light. Cool. Let's launch the control panel and take a look at what we have here. So under settings, we have the usual XFCE fare. Yeah, so nothing unusual here. We've probably most of us seen this before. Under system, we have a bunch of light settings here. So we've got light auto login, enable or disable. Very interesting. We've got the light desktop. Let's see what that is. Yes, enabling or disabling the desktop icons that you see on the left side of your screen. So yeah, it's handy to have. And then we've got light info. Yeah, sorry, the hardware database does not accept submissions from a virtual machine. Yeah, that makes sense. Light network shares. Let's see what this does. Yes, so you can use this to configure Samba for network sharing from your Lightbox. So you can reload the configuration or restart services. You can also edit the share settings here. I guess smb.conf is where you can edit. Let's quit. Okay, very handy. Got the Lite software, which we saw earlier. Let's update the software sources. And let's click the install software task. And then, OK. All right. Got a bunch of stuff here available. Curated software packages from Lite. We've got Audacity, LibreOffice, Chrome web browser, Dropbox cloud storage, Etcher USB burner, FileZilla, FTP client, Games Pack. Got Genie, a full-featured IDE, Handbrake for converting video to nearly any format, iDevices with GTK Pod, Pigeon is an instant messenger. Got the Kodi Media Center here available, Clementine as a music player, NitroShare, note-taking journal, I guess they use Zim, that's handy, OBS Studio to record and stream, password manager, it would be KeyPass XC, Play on Linux, I guess for games and apps for Windows, Remina for the remote desktop software redshift for adjusting the color temperature day or night. Restricted extras, so we installed some of those already. Additional codecs and simple screen recorder. Okay. Skype, we know what that is. Sound juicer to extract music from CDs. Spotify. Steam gaming client. Microsoft Teams. TeamViewer as remote desktop support. Telegram messaging. Deluge torrent client. Got also the Tor web browser. That's very nice. OpenShot for video editing software. Okay. VirtualBox for running virtual machines such as Windows. Weather Monitor applet for the tray. GuckView or GUV-CView webcam. Wine. And the Zoom video and audio conferencing. Okay, pretty cool. It's a nice list. Let's go back to Task Selector and quit out of there. Let's see, light sounds. So you can enable system sounds, log in, log out, volume control. Under light sources, I guess that's the repos there. Light system report. For forums, I guess. Light tweaks, we've just taken a look at that. Used it a couple of times for zRAM. And the kernel, so you can do a whole bunch of stuff like configuring Hibernate, systemd logs, TLP for laptops, package system repair, a whole bunch of stuff here. Boot up fix. Yeah, very handy. Out of scope for this video, unfortunately. This is the user manager, so I'm a member of these groups. User Steven. You can add a new user, or I can change my password here, or change a password for a different user. Okay. There's Lite Welcome. We've seen that already. The Lite widget. Let's see. Okay. So Lite widget kind of is a nice system information widget with a status. And I see the firewall status is disabled. So let's fix that now. Let's click Firewall Config. Enter a password. And the firewall daemon should be enabled. So let's enable it. Unmasking and enabling firewall. Starting the firewall. And status is enabled right now. Memory used is currently just under 700 megabytes. Still pretty good. All right. Let's click on the help manual here. See what that's all about. Okay, Firefox is launched. Let's choose the dark theme and save it. All right, we've got a bunch of links. Let's click on contents and see what's available. So we've got a bunch of very in-depth set of documentation for everything from networking, hardware, tutorials, customization. Okay. Yeah, you can spend hours and hours and days here. Let's click network shares and open up that article. Oh yes, okay. So it's annotated and illustrated and an in-depth discussion on network sharing on Lite 5.6. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a wonderful learning resource for people new to Linux. Yeah, this is just the network sharing part. Talks all about Samba and services, share definitions. Cool. All right. Very nice. Very impressive. Impressive set of documentation. So what do we have here? We've got favorites, recently used, applications, my computer with home through videos, Settings, we've seen already. Accessories, we have the application finder, archive manager, backups. Let's see what that is. Oh, okay. Looks like it's Deja Dupe backup tool. Okay, very cool. So this is an easy way to back up to the cloud or local resources such as a NAS. Very nice to have. Got calculator, file search, fonts, screenshot, text editor. Under graphics, we have a document scanner, image editor, paint, and a photo manager. Under internet, we've got the Thunderbird mail client, our network connections configurator, get online support for Linux Lite, and our Firefox web browser. Under multimedia, we have a CD-DVD burner, less useful as time goes on, the VLC media player, and the volume control. Okay. Under Office, looks like we have the LibreOffice word processor, presentation, and spreadsheet. Also, they include a PDF viewer. Pretty comprehensive. Under System, we've got Package Manager, that's Synaptic. Very nice. Whole bunch of packages available there. Can have a drive partitioner, printers, configuration, process viewer, that's HTOP, I guess, system information, system log viewer, system restore utility, that's Timeshift, the task manager, and of course the terminal emulator that we've been using all along. Okay, so that is a whirlwind tour of Linux Lite 5.6. I've been using Linux for approaching 30 years, so I'm definitely not part of the target audience here, but I still can appreciate all the hard work the Lite team put in to make this release one of the most polished and easy-to-use Ubuntu-based systems out there. In summary, I'd say they've achieved their mission. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Until next time, take care.